You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 8th day of November, 2023. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. This is our second live broadcast of the day. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast runs from 9:15 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That's our live training room, and that is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, you can do so right now by going to mytradingiq.com, and at the very top of the page, there's a link that says 5-day free trial. Now, it doesn't matter what day of the week or weekend or hour of the day that you click the link, because the first thing we have to do once you sign up for the trial, that day we'll get your desktop set up, get your indicators indicating. Then the following day, that's when your trial officially begins. So you'll get 5 consecutive days, even if it stretches over a weekend. When the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break, and we come back for the afternoon broadcast at 12 noon Eastern. Now, there's 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast live, and this broadcast is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth. Best way, go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, complete the 30-second registration form, and you're done. You only have to do that once. Going forward, every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform, where you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there's going to be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join the broadcast live. You can. And there'll be days when you're just busy and can't join live, but you want to check it out later. You can. This magic of which I speak is our YouTube channel. It's easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the youtube.com part, so you just have to remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,300 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. All right, let's open up with a daily devotional and a word of prayer. Now, our topic this week is hearing the voice of God. 2 weeks ago, we talked about conversations with God. Last week, we talked about the power of a simple prayer. This week, hearing the voice of God. Our scripture is Luke 8, chapter 8, verse 13. I'll share with you from the Message translation. The seeds in the gravel are those who hear with enthusiasm. But the enthusiasm doesn't go very deep. It's only another fad. And the moment there's trouble, it's gone. Again, that was Luke chapter 8, verse 13. Fruit comes from deep roots. During the springtime, all the grass in Phoenix, if you have grass, which not many people do, turns green if you water it. And I mean, you're not supposed to right now because we're in a drought. Wildflowers bloom. It's pretty. The moment the rains stop, the hills turn brown again. Why? Because the grass has no roots. It can't go down deep enough to get water from the water table beneath the ground. When there are no roots, when a plant is in shallow soil, it may initially sprout and look good, but it doesn't last. The plants wither quickly because they don't have roots. In Luke, the seeds that fell on rocky ground are the people who gladly hear the message and accept it. But they don't have deep roots, and they believe only for a little while. As soon as life gets hard, they give up. A lot of times we hear God's word and get excited about it, but we don't allow it to change us. We act superficially. We react emotionally. We're moved impulsively. But we don't take the time to let it sink in. Do you really want to be that way? Of course not. You want to be a deep person, not a shallow person. You want to be a person with deep spiritual roots so that when recession comes and lasts several years, you're able to keep bearing good fruit. When the rough winds come, somebody in your family gets sick or somebody dies, the trial doesn't blow you away because you've got roots. How do you develop spiritual roots? There are 2 ways. A daily time with God and a weekly small group time with other believers. You've got to spend time alone with God, and you have to spend time with other believers. If you're not spending time with God on a daily basis, you're going to dry up and blow away when the pressure is on. You won't be able to handle it. You've got to make time to listen during your daily time with God. You have to sit and be quiet. You have to read the Bible and talk to God. Maybe play some worship music. If you like to journal, do that. Do whatever it takes to keep the focus on God. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come before you, we're reflecting on the parable of the sower from Luke 8. which reminds us of the importance of receiving your word with a receptive heart. We recognize the different ways in which people respond to your message, and we seek your guidance to be among those who hold fast to your truth. Lord, we acknowledge the distractions and challenges that can hinder us from fully receiving your word. Pray for hearts that are not shallow, where the seeds of your truth can take root and grow. Grant us the perseverance and depth of truth to withstand trials and temptations that come our way. Help us, Lord, to be diligent in nurturing the seeds of your word in our lives, so that we may bear fruit that is pleasing to you. May we be open and responsive to the promptings of your Holy Spirit, allowing your word to transform us from the inside out. Lord, we seek to be good soil, ready to receive and embrace your teachings and to live them out in our daily lives. We ask for your grace to guard our hearts from the cares and distractions of this world, that we may be fruitful and faithful in our journey of faith. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen. Happy Wednesday. I'm going to give you the numbers from around the world, as I always do. But first, I want to talk to everybody that uses DT Pro for charting and or for executing your trades. I know many people chart with TradingView, but execute on DT Pro. If you have an account with Bert, Daniel's Trading, Gain Futures, you should have gotten an email a couple days ago from StoneX, who has bought Gain Capital. Gain Capital bought Daniel's Trading. So it's been a progression, but everything shifts on the 19th of this month to StoneX. Now you'll still have access to a platform, just like DT Pro, and some other options. But the email that you received directs you to log in to your My StoneX account. Now, here's what threw me. When I opened my account with Daniels, I think it was 2008, and I used an email address that I probably haven't used since 2008. So as I was going through the steps as they were laid out in the email that came from StoneX, I couldn't get logged in. So I went back to the email and I tapped where it says me, and it showed the address that the email came from and revealed the address that the email was sent to. So the way my email is set up, if you send an email to anything at cfrn.net, I'll get it. So once I was aware of the original email I used when I was signing up for the DT Pro account, once I put that into the StoneX, guess what? It worked. Now, I got myself all flustered because I couldn't get it to work. But by simply doing a little research, and it clearly says make sure you use the email address that you used when you signed up your account. Now, we all know with DT Pro, you have a username, okay? On the 19th, the username is going to change from whatever it is now to the email address you originally used when you signed up for an account with Daniels Trading or Gain Capital. But the password that you currently use, that remains the same. And if you run into any problems, once you've determined you're using the right email address, you can always hit Forgot Password, and then it will prompt you to create a new password for the MyStoneX platform. You really should go ahead and get that done and check out some of the new features that will be available to you on the StoneX platform. Now, there's a number, in fact, there's a little video in the email, and if you watch that video, it's about 3 minutes. It shows a list of the different platforms, charting platforms. You can see TradingView, but out of sight down at the bottom is DT Pro, or whatever it is they're going to call it. DT Pro stood for Daniels Trading Professional, right? So I suspect they'll call it something else, but it will look and function exactly the same as DT Pro based on the information I've been given. So don't wait till the last minute. Go ahead and get that taken care of. Okay, here's the numbers. Starting in the US, the cash markets or the indices. The Dow's down 104 points. The NASDAQ is down 47. S&P 500 is down 12. But the Russell 2000, that's down 22. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but for the Russell, it is. It's 1.25%. And this may be one of those days where the Russell leads us to the downside, as some days it leads us to the upside. Garrett made a comment yesterday that for him, he feels that the NQ is the first to move. In my own experience, I've not seen that. Now, don't try to build a trading strategy around that, because the Russell does not always lead. The NQ does not always lead. No one index always leads. But when the Russell makes a supersize move compared to the other indices, you just might want to give that a little bit of credence. All right, in the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.81. Now, you know all the talking heads have been talking about $100 a barrel, $150 a barrel. We're still embroiled in this thing in the Middle East. Crude prices keep dropping. It's a curious thing. I'm just pointing it out. So crude oil is down $1.82 today, trading $75.55 last. That's a drop of over almost 2.5%. Gold is down $11.20, trading $19.6240 last. Silver is actually up 25 cents. That in and of itself is a little unusual to see gold and silver on the opposite sides of the street. Silver is up a quarter, trading $22.84 last. That's a gain of almost 1.25%, or $1,250 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei down 105, Shanghai down 5, the Hang Seng down 101. No movers, no shakers. In the European markets at the close, FTSE down 8, the DAX up 76, the CAC up 47. Again, no movers and shakers there. That's been pretty common lately with the European markets, for the most part. So that gave us a red day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. But so far, it is a red Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. So let's take a look. I think I'm going to plug, again, one of my new favorite podcasts. It's called Unashamed. It's got the gang from Duck Dynasty. Now, Cy, remember Uncle Cy with the cup of tea, Tupperware cup of tea? He's got his own podcast called Duck Call Room. Now, the Duck Call Room is more about the guys just shooting the breeze about life in general, while Unashamed is a Bible study. And since I started listening to it, we've been going through the book of Luke. I think you'll be able to find it wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on the Apple Podcast or whatever you use. Okay? Just go to wherever you get your podcast, type in Unashamed in the search box. It'll pop right up. And if you like Uncle Cy, you might want to listen to that occasionally. The Unashamed comes out, I think, 3 times a week. And I think the Duck Call Room comes out twice a week. All right. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're in week 275. Over the last 275 weeks, we've issued over 15,300 individual handcrafted alerts. This recap is valid as of 7 a.m. Eastern this morning. That will change by this afternoon, and so Valerie will update the recap as she does. Since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 24 alerts. 1 never triggered, and we're still waiting on 3, or we were at 7 a.m. Eastern. And there have been some additional alerts that went out today. So that gave us a total of 20 actionable alerts as of 7 a.m. Eastern, of which 5 or 25% would have been stopped out based on market structure and the risk profile that I teach all of our lifetime members in their unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. So this week we're sitting a little bit above the weekly average. I think last week we ended up with 17%, somewhere in that vicinity. It was 20 or under. And that's what it's been on average on a weekly basis for 275 weeks. Now the logic alerts have an entry price, an initial target, additional targets based on looking left to spot previous swing highs and swing lows, which can become current resistance and support. Our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, they're a little bit different. The logic alerts are based on current price action, and they can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs are published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening So today's the Wednesday session, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Wednesday session will end today at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern will be the beginning of the Thursday session. Now, this broadcast is open to the public, so if you're not a member or trial member, you didn't get these numbers last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're tuned in live, you can grab a screenshot, or if you're watching after the fact, you can just hit pause on the video you're watching on the YouTube channel and jot down whatever markets are important to you. Once the report comes out, the first thing you do is go to whatever market or markets you actually trade or are learning how to trade, and make note of where price is at the time the report is published. It'll always be between these two numbers. Then draw a line, and that's on your 30-minute chart where you make that note. All alerts are based on the 30-minute chart. Draw a line in the sand at your long target, line in the sand at the short target. That will help you stay on the right side of the street. They serve as great visual cues. Now, if price gets above the 30-minute BBC, then it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. It's pretty simple. Now, with the logic alerts, I've already looked left for you. That's why there's multiple targets. But with the CTAs, you get to look left yourself. It's part of the learning process. You see, our goal is for you to become self-sufficient. If your plan is to trade for a living, then you don't want to be sitting around waiting for somebody else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. You want to be able to read the chart like a newspaper or a good mystery novel. And that's not going to allow you to predict the future with 100% accuracy. That's impossible. There's nothing that can do that. However, you can know with a great degree of certainty what the next high probability move will be. Now, there's a big difference from knowing what the next high probability move will probably be and somebody telling you they know for certain what the next move is going to be. And yesterday I explained the reasons why that just can't exist. Okay? So if you want to stop looking, you have my approval, because you can't find what can't exist. All right. So with the CTAs, which are based on historic price action, you're going to look left to spot obstacles on your own, and you're going to learn over time how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. This is really important. Price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon, if price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Only three things happen when price encounters a weekly trading zone. 70% of the time is consolidation, 20% of the time is rejection, 10% of the time is what we call the slice. That's when price slices through a zone on the 30-minute chart, like it's not even there. When that happens, what typically follows is as that slice runs out of steam, it will retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. We've published the zones since December 14th of 2009. They come out for our members every Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. That gives everybody an opportunity to get the zones on their chart before Wall Street even wakes up for the week. Beyond that, you simply have to resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. As long as you know which way the wind is blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. So, still got a few minutes before Michael joins us for a recap of the live training room. So let's go to the daily chart, where we came very close to hitting that measured move. And I think we still may. However, once blue and climbing, red and falling turned to blue and climbing, once the step line crossed red and falling, we expected a pullback to the BBC. Now the pullback holds more often than not, whether you're on the daily chart or the 30-minute chart. This time we went right through it, but we then expected resistance at the 38% fib. And that's where we've been for 1, 2, 3, 4 trading sessions. So while I think there's still further downside on tap, we're sitting right on top of the step line, which is potential support. And it seems to be acting as potential support. So there are a number of obstacles that price has to overcome to get back down to this area. It's got to get below the step line. It's got to get below the BBC. The green line stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish. We anticipate higher prices. When price gets below the green line, we're bearish. We anticipate lower prices, both on the daily and on the 30-minute. If price gets through the BBC, then we hit the 50% fib retracement, which is almost always good for a bounce. Then we have this trend line and blue and climbing. Now, if we consolidate sideways, as we've done for the last 3 days, the BBC will rise, blue and climbing will rise. So there's still obstacles that price has to overcome. And then this trend line, okay? And then the 62, and then the low that was put in October 27th. Now, the reason I start looking at a daily chart each day before thinking about doing any trading, I want to see what the institutions are up to. Because the institutional traders are the ones who actually move price. They look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has to do with account size. So by looking at the daily chart, you're looking at what the institutional traders are looking at. And as you can see, for the last 3 sessions, they've not been able to make up their mind. We managed to close above the 38% fib yesterday, but here we are today, just slightly below the 38% fib. Now, 43.74 is where the step line is, and the low of today is 43.75. But you see that we just ticked down a little bit more with the red. If we close below the step line, that opens a window of opportunity down to the BBC. We get through the BBC, then, there's support times 4 in this area. But I still think price will make it. Now, that's an observation, not a forecast. I'm going to trade what's in front of me on any given day. But I know right now the institutions are not buying hand over fist. What I see from this is a market looking for direction. It's like horses in the starting gate. Think of those as the institutional traders. They're all snorting and pawing and looking at each other, giving each other the side eye, right? Waiting for that gate to come up. That's this. Now, that doesn't mean you can't trade until the institutions make up their mind. Obviously, I mean, where did we open last night? At the top of this body. We put in a little bit of green, and down we go. So we're off the high of the day and just off the low of the day. Sideways trading. Seen a lot of that lately. Now again, all alerts are based on the 30-minute charts, both the logic alerts and the concierge trade alerts. The vertical line separates today, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. This was the opening candle last night. We did get below the BBC, but we didn't travel far. We ran into this support area that was established yesterday afternoon. That put price back above the BBC. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing, and up we run right to the weekly trading zone. When price moves up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. When price drops to a weekly trading zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. So we ran up, we hit the zone, pulled back, hit the zone, pulled back, actually pushed through, took out yesterday's high. That happened. This candle right here, that was the opening candle on Wall Street, which is typically the largest candle of the day. This candle from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. is bigger. I'm not sure what news came out. I don't think there was any important news, but there may have been. But so what happens? We get below the BBC. Blue and climbing turns to red and falling, and down we go, and we come just shy of hitting the short target, but plenty of room there to get your goal for the day. This candle opened at 43.87 and dropped to 43.75. Opened at 87, dropped to 75. That's 12 points in this one 30-minute candle. Now what's happening? Well, once the market finds support, it's got to go look for resistance. The step line could be good resistance. We're on the verge of a bearish cross. That's when the red line drops below the BBC, the green line. So if we don't get resistance at the step line, I would anticipate resistance in this area right here, and then a follow-through leg to the downside. On the Dow, flat yesterday, flat today. We did manage to run up and hit the long target, but notice we never left the zone. Spiked the zone to touch the target, and then just like the ES, we headed down to the zone below where we found support, and we hit the short target. For those of you that are new and are trying to learn how to trade, if there's any possible way I can make it any simpler than this, every one of our members and trial members had these target numbers last night at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Not that I want you to just trade the alerts and not try to learn how to trade. that would be a waste of your time and money. You want to learn to read the chart yourself. You want to become self-sufficient. No waiting around for somebody else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. Okay? On to the Russell. Michael should be here any minute. Here's where we opened. Below the BBC, right? With red and falling. And where do we go? Right down to the zone. The zone is 1733/34. Then we got above the BBC and made a run at the long target. But we didn't quite get there. We were 1 point shy of hitting the long target. Then price it found resistance, so now it goes to look for support. Now, notice red and falling. This is what I call the perfect stack. You got price, step line, red and falling, BBC. But notice the step line. It's starting to hook left. It hasn't crossed red and falling yet, but if and when it does, anticipate a pullback to the BBC, which we expect to be good resistance until proven otherwise. And then another leg that will attempt, once it gets below this low, get all this area, get to the next zone below us. All right, Michael's here, so we'll pause the recap. And Michael will give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. Then we'll go live on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes. And then I'll finish up that recap and close this out with our good word for the day.
All right.
Looks good.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 8th day of November, 2023. If you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, and right here is the sign up for free 5-day training. Now 9:15 to 11:30 Eastern time. Now, when you do that, it's just going to bring you to this page right here. We don't ask for any credit card or anything like that. If you use TradingView, give us a username. If you use NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID, and we'll get your indicator set up right away. All right. This morning, well, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We had a rough time of it this morning. We did get it, but it took us a long time. Today, as I said, is the 8th day of November, 2023. We lost 12 ticks on the NQ. We made 22 ticks on the Russell. We made 18 ticks on crude and 1 tick on the ES. That put us at 242.5 on the morning session. Today it took 101 minutes and 22 trades to get to the goal for the day at that part of $1,897.50. And it took a total of 28 trades. So on the month now, we're up $2,437. That's over 6 trading days, averaging $406 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year now, we've gotten our goal for the day on 208 out of 213 possible days, and that puts us at $95,274 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Let me just look through here. Okay. If you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far this year, you would have had to work. This number went up a lot today, 71.8 hours, and you would have averaged $2,464 per hour. I think that number went down, and this number went up today because it took me so long. But yeah, because it took an hour and a half, and we didn't get per contract in an hour and a half. Well, with 11 contracts, we did. I guess maybe it went up. I don't know. I have to look at yesterday's thing. All right, so let's get into it. On crude oil today, we used crude oil today for our lesson plan a lot because it was giving good leg lengths. Now, in today's lesson plan, I'll just touch on it a little bit. We did things with the old slingshot, or the slingshot that we use on DT Pro and NinjaTrader. I did a comparison of the current slingshot, the TradingView slingshot, the ultimate slingshot. It only needs 1 line. It only has 1 line, and it's only used for one thing, to trigger the arrows. This slingshot, you had to use it for more than that. You had to have separation in slingshot. You had to have the right kind of slope on the cycle. You had to have the right colors. You had to have a lot of other things. You don't need that anymore with TradingView. Okay, that was part of what today's lesson plan was about. We use crude oil for it. So in crude, our first couple of trades here were break-even trades. We had that one there and that one there. Now, if we would have been right on time, I believe we would have had this ribbon trade right here, but we've been like a few minutes early. We would have had this ribbon trade right here. It would have gotten us our goal for the day right there at the very beginning, but we didn't get that, and we went all the way over here. We got a break even on that one, then a break even on that one, and then on this one right here, this is where we got the goal for the day, I think. We picked up 11 ticks on that. Okay, and I think we had one more trade. We did right in here. We picked up another 7 ticks there to get us to plus 18. And that was where we ended with crude oil. Now you see, there are not a ton of the blue arrows here today. The blue arrows are the highest probability trades. Right, the blue arrows are highest probability trades. I gotta write that into the code to make them blue by default. But I don't know if it's a dark blue, because that's what that is. Anyway, we didn't have many of those today. All right, during the break, we didn't get really anything else on the crude. We had this one black arrow here, but you know, well, you could have taken it, I suppose, but there was just a whole bunch of no trades on. Tomorrow is going to be the day, guys. Tomorrow is going to be the day that we actually have some news. The Forex Factory schedule here was messed up this week and was messed up last week. It didn't include crude inventories today. We did have crude inventories today. It just didn't include them. I did have the, let's see if I still have it open. I do have it open. Here it is. The crude inventories today. I believe this is today at 9:30. Crude stocks. I need to refresh this. I don't know how to refresh it. I have to go to the top to refresh it. Go here to today. All right. So it was 9:30 Central Time. These times over here is Central Time. And I just want today, Central Time. Today. Let's do Eastern Time. Here it is, Eastern Time. All right, so for some reason they removed it from here. It was there earlier, but it looks like, I don't know, they've been messing with that. The crude inventories, the numbers last week and this week. Anyway, I'm curious about something. I gotta go check in a minute. But so on the Russell today, let's get back to the beginning on the Russell. The Russell was one of our better trading markets today. Started out, we missed this trade right here, right at the open. If we'd gotten that, we'd have gotten the goal to down the very first trade there. But we didn't. We ended up with a break even there, And then on this trade here on the Russell, we picked up 2 ticks. And the next one, we picked up 1 more. That got us to 3. Then we picked up 9. That got us to 12. Then we stopped out. That stopped out to the tick. That put us down to 2. Then we got 10 more there to get us back to 12. Then we had 5 more to get us to 17, and then 5 more to get us to 22. And then these blue arrows that you see down here, those are triggered by the system. Okay, those are triggered by the indicators, actually, by the context. So they were all good arrows to have down there, but they were not trade I took. During the break, it looks like there were no more high probability trades. Okay, so those large blue arrows are the highest probability trades. You can have just those on your charts. Again, to put those just on your charts and nothing else, you go in here, go to style, and undo these 2 right here. Undo those and leave these on. All right, and I'll give you just the highest probability trades. Okay. You only need one of those a day. One of those a day is enough to get your goal for the day. You see this morning, the highest probability trades starting out before the open right there. There was one right there. There was one. Our first trade this morning on the ES was right here. We picked up 1 tick on that, and that was all that we got. We took this one right here, another highest probability trade, and we ended up with a break even on it. And that's all there was right in here. So we didn't have a lot to do today with the ES. Sadly, look at all this no trade zone it was in. There's a whole bunch of no trades on today. But let me put that back because I know I'm going to forget. And then tomorrow I'll be wondering why I don't have all the other arrows on there. All right. There is that one. Now the NQ. Let's get into the NQ. We didn't have a ton of trades on the NQ. We were never positive on the NQ today. That is an odd day for us. We're never positive once on the NQ. But let's get back to the beginning. See the highest probability trades? They did pretty well most of the time. But it's all the other trades that I took that didn't do well. But look at how the NQ was in here. Just going nowhere, sideways. You see this black dash line right here? That's what it kept going up to and bouncing off of, down between that and the midpoint right here, between that and the midpoint, back and forth and back and forth. And as it was doing it, it was going across the BBC as it was doing it, just making a mess out of things. But let's get back to the very beginning, way back here. Okay, now right here was our first trade, and we took a break even on that one. Our next trade was right here, we stopped out. Our next trade was right here, we stopped out again. This highest probability stop out. So we're at minus 40 at that point. I missed this trade right here, which could have gotten all 40 of that back. Then I got this one that got back 30 of it. So we're at minus 10 at that point. Then I didn't add whatever that was in there. So we're at minus 10 at that point, and I got something there that I didn't add in. And then right here, we had a minus 20 again. So that put us down to minus 30. Then we had a break even right there. And then we had another minus. This was my mistake. This one right here, I should have had my stop at break even. I made a mistake on this. This kind of messed us up, but I had a minus 20 there. That put us at minus 50 total. And then you see it just got flat in here. It was going back and forth between that dash line and the midpoint. Midpoint is a red dash line down here, and that one I just drew in because it kept hitting that level. We had one break even trade that we took in there, and then we didn't take another one until it got out of it a little bit. And it came back up and actually gave a decent bounce off the ribbon right here. So we took that one and we picked up 30 ticks there. That got us to minus 20. And this one right here, we picked up 8 ticks, got us to minus 12. And that is where we ended the trading right there on the NQ. So you just got right back into that junk in between the midpoint and that line. And it's just been kind of stuck there all morning. And, it's kind of there right now, I think. Right? Still the midpoint in the line all the way through. Break even trade, a little bit of profit. Okay, we got away from it right in here. And so in here, this would have been a little bit of profit on that trade. A little bit of profit on that trade, probably break even on both though. And it almost got right back up to it. So the NQ was just difficult to trade today. And I ended minus 12 on the NQ this morning. Okay, we did get the goal for the day, but I ended minus 12 on the NQ. All right, it's time to start the live stream up right now. So I'm going to jump in there and start that up. Okay, so I have begun the live stream. Now, if you to sorry, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, if you look at the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. This is how we ended up in the morning. Okay, today on the 8th day of November 2023, we're minus 12 on the NQ. I just went through how we never got positive on the NQ this morning, but minus 12 was pretty close to the high of the day for us. We're plus 22 on the Russell, 18 on crude, and plus 1 on the ES. So we're plus 242.5 on the morning session. Took forever to get our goal for the day, but we did get it. When we did get it, we're at 1,897.5 with 11 contracts on. All right, so on the month, we're at $2,437 with one contract for the morning session only. And on the year, we're at $95,274 with one contract for the morning session only. All right. Yeah, if you were to quit trading when you hit your goal for the day, and you were to add one contract per month, so far this year, you would have only had to work 71.88 hours. You would have averaged $2,464 per hour. Okay. All right. Now, get into the charts. All right, so we had this green arrow stop to break even, but now it needs to put in a lower swing before we take another trade. On the Russell, we're just going sideways. On the ES, we're just going sideways. And on the NQ, we're just going to look at some other markets here. curious. This is Solana. I want to see what Apple's doing right now. Okay, so let's just look at Apple. Apple. All right, this is what it looks like on a 5-minute. Let's look at it on a range bar here. Curious because one of the partners had asked me to, I don't know if he's in here right now, Irving. I don't see him in here. To look into alerts. So I created some alerts, and right now the alerts are triggering on Apple, and I have it triggering on a chart that I have running somewhere else that is on a 3 range, I think. So let me see if I can do that 3 range add, and did I do that already? 3 range. There it is. Okay, we'll go to a 3 range, and the alert that it triggered a few minutes ago at 102. 102, the alert triggered was right here. It said to go short. So it went short for a little bit on that thing. Okay, I just wanted to see what it was doing and see if what it was doing. Let me just do this, and we'll slide this over here. Yeah, all the alerts had gone up. Well, that's true. I mean, that's all right. So let me see if it just gave me one for the long. It probably did. Hang on. Let me see. Yes, I have a possible long alert coming. That's what it said, possible long, and then it said long. So I had 2 alerts that happened. One gave the warning, and one gave the actual thing. I don't know. I'm still working on it. But here on this very small time frame, a 3 range is just 3 cents. It's only going to move 3 cents to change to a new bar. So that's really fast. But I was only doing it just so I could see if the alerts are actually triggering and going to my phone and doing all the things they should do. And they are. So that's good. But right here on the NQ just gave us a highest probability long trade. I'm trying to find my NQ DOM. And the NQ has already gone enough into profit to bump the stop to break even, right? Why is that in the way? It's already gone to enough into profit to bump the stop to break even. The entry point should have been right here on the up close of this bar at 40.50. 40.50. Okay, what we anticipate is that it's going to get up to this level up here at 51.75 at least, up to that level up there. But again, we're right back at this midpoint and the other line up there. Now the midpoint is going to act as resistance now probably, but it wants to go right through it right here and push up. Okay, I totally missed that trade. I was looking at this, I didn't get that trade. But you're right, John. I didn't want to have alerts popping all the time. I was just trying to do something because one of the guys asked me to do it, and he actually asked me to do it on the little arrows. He said if you could get an alert on the little arrows, then you could start watching the charts when the time comes. So that might be something that I might be able to do. And I don't want to have that alert turned on, but you guys will be able to turn it on your own. Okay, because that'll give you, like a warning that you have potential long coming, or warning that you have potential short coming. So if you look in here, if we bump this to a reasonable thing, like 1 minute, or you can even do it on a range. It's a 182, so let's do a 25 range on this. So 25 range on this, every bar is 25 cents, right? So as a red one starts to develop right here, you get an alert that says, potential short coming, potential short, potential short, potential short. And it would give you the symbol. Okay. That's the idea behind it. Anyway. Okay. So we did put in a higher swing over here. So if we would have grabbed that, we would have gotten our 30 ticks on that. We don't have anything across these other markets yet, but we could get something here as we keep moving forward. Now, in the live stream, if anybody wants to see anything other than what we're looking at right now in the live stream, all you have to do is type in the symbol. Right? I'm happy to go look at anything else. We got Apple running over here on the side. I don't know what Tesla's doing today. I'm curious about that in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has been running a little bit as of late. So Tesla, did it get up above our, remember we were looking at it, it wasn't on a range chart, it was on a 30-minute chart. Okay, and we had drawn in the beginning of the gap that it needs to fill. It hasn't gotten up to that part yet. That's right here. Beginning of the gap that it needs to fill is up there. So, okay. So I just get another alert about Apple. I'm gonna have to shut that off because that is not on that. That's triggering from this, so it's gonna trigger a whole bunch of alerts right now. Good stuff. All right, it is functioning. That is what I want to see. Hey, we missed another NQ trade. I gotta stop doing that. The way that NQ has whooped me today, I just missed 2 nice trades that would have given me profit. Maybe I ought to pay attention to the NQ. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Anything that we're doing in here? Any symbols? You just have to let me know. You need to put in a higher swing from this point right now, and then we'll look for another one. But you see, we're getting up right in. We got up above the midpoint, came back down to the midpoint, bounced off it, and now up here is the level that we've been fighting with all day. Okay, on the ES, we need that to pull back down, bounce off the ribbon. On the Russell, we need that to pull back down, bounce off the ribbon there. And on the crude, we're just going sideways there. Just going sideways a little bit. Okay. Now, let's see. We're looking to get out of the no trade zone here on the Apple. I'm just going to go back to four things here because that Apple's going to throw me off. We need to get a higher swing on the NQ. We do have a higher swing on the ES. We do have a higher swing on the Russell. Now the Russell's pulling back down to test the ribbon. It needs to actually hit the ribbon. It just did. So now we can take an up close here on the Russell. 19.1 up to 19.9 on the Russell would be a blue arrow long trade. It'd be a blue arrow long trade. 19.1 up to 19.9. Okay. And this is not a valid trade over here on the NQ because we didn't put in a higher swing from the last one. And this number has just changed. Now it's not going to be a blue arrow trade for sure. And it might not be a trade at all. Okay. Let's get a low here, 0.3, add 8 to that. It's 0.1. If this bar closes down, there's going to be no trade at all for sure. The crude oil is just going into a no trade zone, so we got nothing there. We need to put in a higher swing over here, so we don't have anything there. And you see why that green arrow was no good? Because we didn't have a higher swing. We didn't continue the trend right there. That's why it was no good. Okay. On the ES right now, we're pulling back down to test the ribbon. We're oversold. We just bounce off that ribbon, and then we should have something good. Even if we don't bounce off the ribbon right now, we've already hit the ribbon once. So even if we don't bounce off the ribbon, we could still get a trade set up there. I don't think this is going to end up being a trade here on this. I'm going to cancel the Russell. And I'll bring the ES over. The ES is closer to giving us a trade than the Russell is. We've got a low here right now. It's 87.50. So you'd be buying 89.50 like that. Yes. All these other two indices are going down, so I don't know if the ES is going to do what we want it to do, but we'll see. Okay. There's going to be nothing here, and nothing there, and nothing there. All right. Okay, cancel on this, I think. Hang on. Now we could still have a trade here on the ES. It could still happen. These other marks just aren't giving us anything. It is 112 now, guys. 112. 113. We have 17 minutes left in here. I don't know if this is going to turn into a trade or not. We're down here at the ribbon now. 86.75 is going to be 88.75. Now 88.25. Follow the low of the bar right here. Okay. See, the other indices are dropping right here. I don't think DS is going to give us a good trade here now. 85.75 up to 87.75 will be the long trade now. Just trading what's in front of us here. Okay. I don't know more than the charts. Trade the plan. Plan the trade. The up close right here, it's got a low now at 85.75, so 87.75. The up close is going to be right here at 87.50. Right? If it gives us the up close, it's going to be at 87.50. Does anybody have any questions at all? I don't see any questions anywhere. Does anybody want to see any other symbols or anything like that? I'm happy to show you any other symbols you might want to see. We're just not getting a bunch of trades here today. I missed the two nice trades on the NQ, that one and that one. I was showing you the Apple stuff. And now we're just waiting for this ES to come around. You could do it. All right, the NQ was just about changing directions here. You see we had the no trade zone there where it did actually switch directions long-term to short-term. I'm sorry, bullish to bearish. Long-term direction turned bullish to bearish right there. And now it's got to hit the ribbon. It's going to bounce off the ribbon. Okay, after that direction change. And this ES trade, if it ever comes to fruition, should make it up here to the prior swing high, 91.50. I don't see anything good up there yet, but we'll see. It's now 1:15, so we have 15 minutes left. And it closed down, so this may not end up being a trade at all here on the ES. I'm just going to cancel it for right now and drag it back over to the side. If it starts looking like it's going to be a trade, I'll put it back on. Right. But now if we get a down close on this bar, it's not going to be a trade for sure. If we get an up close, it might be a trade. It's going to pull it out of the oversold. Okay, there it is. It is a trade. So I'm trying to put it on right now. And I just felt 86.5. Okay, so that should make it up to the prior swing high. Right, after 4 ticks in profit, we're going to bump the stop to break even. It is showing a little more strength on the upside right now, just a little bit. So we'll see what happens with this. Okay. And over here on the NQ, we're about to have a short trade. It's got a high here at 42.50. Subtract 4 from that, be looking at 38.50. Something like that. We need 4 ticks in profit on the CS trade to move the stop to break even. Okay, 4 ticks in profit on the ES trade to move the stop to break even. ES is not really giving anything great on the top side right now. I'm going to throw that stop at break even now on the ES. Now it should make it all the way up here to 91.25. I'm lock in just 1 tick on that. Right, over here on the NQ, we're at the ribbon. We need to give it down close from here and be at 41 right now, but that might not be a trade. Okay, I don't think we're going to put the trade on the NQ. The Russell went into a no trade zone. The crude oil is still in a no trade zone. And yeah, so bang, we're out. We're out with 1 tick here on the ES. And the NQ did give the trade after all. Okay. I wasn't expecting it to give the trade there, but it did go enough into profit to get the stop to break even. The entry point, the best entry point should have been right here, 42.25, right in that area. Okay. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. If I would have gotten it, I would have moved my stop to break even or maybe locked in a little profit. These are 15 tick range bars, so it did go 15 ticks into profit right there. But I missed it. I took 1 tick profit over here on the ES. The others are just going sideways right now. Okay. Back in here, anybody wants any symbols, you just have to give it to me. Tell me what symbol you want to see. All right. If you've not taken a free trial and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on this button right here. When you click on that button, you'll be brought to this page. We don't ask for any credit card information or anything like that. All you have to do is give us your TradingView username right here and your machine ID. Okay, and that'll get you going. All right. The NQ needs to put in a lower swing. The ES needs to put in a higher swing. The Russell needs to put in some kind of swing. Tire swing. I don't know. All right. Anybody have any questions? I don't see any coming in the live stream. We need to get lower than this level right here. Right, lower than that level. Now, the reason that wasn't a blue arrow is because the black is not in the red. That's why that wasn't a blue arrow. The black is not in the red there. And now we got the lower swing. That's what we're looking for right there. And so it's pulling back up. It's got to hit the ribbon. Okay, it's pulling back up and it's going to hit the ribbon. And this has gone down below the midpoint now and into a no trade zone. The Russell's gotten out of the no trade zone. It's kind of flat right here, but it needs to pull back and give us a short. All right. The NQ is trying to do that. We're almost up to the ribbon. We're almost in the overbought. It's trying to give us a short. We need one of those two things to happen to get a trade. Okay. Right, so just need that to get up a little bit higher there. We're in the ribbon, but we're not going to have an arrow on a down close. All right, if we get an up close on this bar, then we'll end up getting in the overbought, and then we'll have an arrow. But right now, on a down close, The black line's got to stay in the red. I'm not sure it's going to. I'm not sure it's going to. I'd rather have this close up and then close down. It's not going to give us a long, it's not going to give us a blue arrow, but it'll give us a green arrow right now. Right? Possibly. Over here on the Russell, we're pulling back up there. Now this might not give us any arrow over here now on the NQ. On the Russell, we're pulling back up to test the ribbon. We haven't quite gotten there yet. We need to drop off of that. No arrow on the NQ. Now we're testing the ribbon on the Russell. We're overbought and we're testing the ribbon. If this bar does not go any higher, then we may end up. Nope, it didn't. We could still get a green arrow, but I don't think we're going to. Long term is getting flat. All the other indices are starting to move up. I think the Russell's going to go with them. Does anybody have any questions at this point? I know I ask that all the time. We have 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left in here. And so far we've had one decent trade there. A couple of missed trades on the NQ. 3 missed trades on the NQ. All would have been profitable if I'd have taken them. All right, now the reason there's no trade here is because the black line just touched the green, right? That's why you have no arrow when you don't have any trade. Long-term trend over here on the NQ has just gone flat. Long-term trend on the ES is totally flat. Long-term trend on the Russell is going flat. So it's all done. We don't have anything in there right now. Okay. All right. Well, gone flat right there. We're not going to have anything. Well, we can go look at other markets now. Does anybody want to see anything else? We have 6 minutes left to look at other things. Apple is on a 3 range. It's bouncing around a little bit. You know, you can't trade it on the 3 range. I just want to make sure to send me the alerts. And it did. Boy, did it. And put it on the 25 range. See, on the 25 range, we had a nice short right here a little while ago. Seems we have all the things on in here. No, we don't. That's why you're not seeing everything. Okay, and that. There you go. So we had the highest probability short, and they had a blue arrow. Highest probability long. So far today, it's given 1 highest probability short. That's an Apple on that time frame. I do like it. Same possible short, and then short, possible long, then long. It gives you a minute to get to your computer. All right. I don't see any questions coming in, so I can look at other symbols if you want. Does anybody want to look at Forex? EURUSD. I did want to look at coin a little bit too. This is what Forex looks like now. With Forex, you got to change the sensitivity because you have so many decimal places. You got to put that many decimal places in here. Change the sensitivity around a little bit, and there you have it. With Forex, highest probability long, highest probability long, highest probability long. Every one of those worked out. And that was today with the EUR/USD. The Forex traders out there. Look at Bitcoin. That's got a Coinbase, and that is going to be on like a 1,000 range. Right? So each bar is $10, and Bitcoin made it all the way up to 35,000 today. It's been a while since it's been up that high, I think. So pretty like the time. But we had highest probability short over there. Long, long, long. Right now it's pulling back, and if it gave a down close right here and came out of the overbought, you'd have a highest probability short right now on Bitcoin. Okay. There it is, highest probability short. It came down out of the overbought, highest probability short. So we'll watch this for a minute. We only have 2 minutes left. Let's just see what Bitcoin does here with the highest probability short. 393, $35,392.44 is where the entry point was. Now the stop would have to be a bar length plus a half a bar length away. All right, so this is a 1,000 range. Your stop would have to be 1,500. Right, so you stop. We've got a double in there. Your stop would have to be 1 bar length. It'd be up here. 403, 408.93. Your stop would be right up here. Right in here somewhere. I don't know what kind of line that was. Trend line. Okay, yeah. 408. Your stop would be up here somewhere. Okay. Yep, there. And your target would be down here. Your initial target would be right down there with the Bitcoin. Okay, that's how you would trade it in there. Same as you do with everything else. Right? We didn't have any other trades in here yet, but that's what you do with Bitcoin right there. You had been shorting up here at 93.46. So your stop up here would be 346 to 0846 roughly. Been right there. That's where your stop would have to be. But your initial target would be down here somewhere. Right down in there. If you're trading Bitcoin, day trading Bitcoin. I don't do that, but just wanted to illustrate that the stuff works no matter what you're using. It's a matter of just establishing the risk. These are range bars. So with a range bar, your risk should be 1.5 range bars, roughly 1.5 range bars. Okay. And so now you'd probably bump your stop to break even in here. So you'd probably on how to break even just now, or pretty close to break even right there. And on the NQ, we'll look for that to drop down here and hit the ribbon. And then bounce on the ES. So we can get out of the no trade zone. The Russell looking how to get out of the no trade zone, and the crude also. So you'll be out of this at break even now, if you didn't take profit on it. That is Bitcoin. But you can do that with anything. Any symbol you want to trade, you can trade in there. I was really primarily interested in the Apple thing. that on this huge range bar. It gave highest probability long trade last month. And it's still going up. But if you put it on like a reasonable range bar, 25 range, then you gave this nice short trade a little while ago, put in a lower swing, and it didn't give you another one. It gave you the green right here, but not the blue. Highest probability blue. The NQ is about to pull back down. It might give us, oh, it's 132. I didn't even look at this one. Yeesh. Time went flying by. All right. So if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on this button right here. When you click on that button, you can be brought to the registration page. On the registration page, just fill out this form. All we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. These are all drop downs. And then down here, you'll see TradingView username or login ID. So we can enable the indicators for you. The only way to get access to the indicators is to sign up for the free trial. All right. Thanks for coming to the live stream, and back tomorrow. All right, Dwayne, you can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A overlooking South Mile, America's largest city park.
Okie doke. Recap of the morning session.
Oof, today it took 101 minutes and 22 trades to get to $1,897.50.
Way to hang in there. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we'll finish up where we left off. We'd made it to the NQ. Here's where the NQ opened last night. Price is trapped between resistance, red and falling, and support at the BBC. And it was just sideways. Yeah, you got a leg. Could have got your goal for the day. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. Pullback holds more often than not. And this one held, and it took us right up to the weekly trading zone. And we just barely took out yesterday's high, but we didn't quite make it all the way to the long target. There was plenty of room here to get your goal for the day on the way. Then we get below the BBC. Pull back to the BBC, and that pullback holds, and that sends us all the way down to the weekly trading zone, to the tick. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. BBC, if it overcomes the BBC, in here, in here, in here. Now, keep in mind that the zone where we found resistance today and the zone where we found support today, those were given to our members Monday morning and trial members at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. It's pretty powerful to have an idea of where the market is going to find support and resistance for the entire week. And over time, you learn how price is going to behave. Okay. Here you had consolidation. Here you had rejection. Here you had rejection. They come out every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and once they're published for the week, they do not change in any way whatsoever. Carved in stone. On crude, here's where we opened last night, and we dropped right to the target. Market found support, so it's going to go look for resistance. BBC gave us a leg down, then back up to resistance. Notice we consolidated at the BBC for a number of hours. So blue and climbing turned to red and falling. Once that happened, we got another drop to the short target. That's support at the target from over here. Set the market looking for resistance, which it found at red and falling. And then the support we found here, if you look left, way back, you'll find out why. Price goes back to resistance at the BBC. Down it comes to the target again. Now, notice that the step line was starting to look like it wanted to cross red and falling. Now that's changed. Okay, it may still do it. If this 30-minute candle closes green, and there's still 23 minutes in the life of this candle, we may get the cross. If the step line crosses red and falling, look for a pullback to the BVC. If we get a down close or a red candle at the end of this 30-minute candle, and once this low is taken out, then you got a lot of room to work with down to the zone. Just make sure you look left so that you're aware of potential obstacles to your trade. Gold, this will be opened. Again, price trap between resistance. Blue and climbing when it's directly above price is resistance, because it's usually on its way to turning into red and falling. Support at the BVC. So we didn't have anything really tradable here. And then we made this drop right here. And then this one candle, it opened at 1971.5. And it dropped to 66.5. A $1 move is worth $100. So from 71.5, 66.5, it's $500 per contract traded in that candle. Market found support, bounced back to the BVC, back down to the target, through the target, found support here, look left, you'll find out why. Bounce up to the step line. Now, gold is attempting to cross red and falling. We get a down close on this 30-minute candle, it may not cross. If we get an up close or a green candle when this 30-minute candle finishes, and it probably will cross, and then price will go back to the BVC, which we expect to be resistance until proven otherwise. Pull back to the BVC holds more often than not, whether you're pulling from below or above. Silver. First for silver opened, and we dropped right to the target. Consolidated a little bit, pull back up to the BVC, dropped to the weekly trading zone where we found support. That support took us back above the BVC, and we came within 1 penny of hitting the target. It only takes 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. This candle here opened at 22.60 and ran up 18 pennies. That candle right there is worth $900 per contract traded on its way to the target. Resistance will send the market looking for support. Pull back to the BVC holds more often than not. Up we go. Remember, we found support at the zone, resistance at the zone. Those are the numbers published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once the step line crosses blue and climbing, expect to pull back to the BVC. That's exactly what we got. Now, overhead, because the step line is directly above price, that's potential resistance. And because blue and climbing is directly above price, that's potential resistance. When price gets directly above When blue and climbing, it's directly above price, or red and falling gets directly below price, it's probably because it's on its way to red and falling is going to become blue and climbing. Blue and climbing is going to become red and falling. And last on the agenda, the euro. Here's where we opened. Support at the BBC. Sent us up to red and falling, resistance. Then we got the bearish cross, where the red line crosses below the green line. And that took us all the way down to the target. Not quite all the way to the zone. We pull back to the BBC and we drop back down to previously established support. And we got above the BBC. Made a run up to the zone. Now the zone is 71.95/71.80. Below this candle, 72.10. Didn't pull all the way back to the zone. Then we made a run at the long target. We didn't quite get there. Plenty of room to get your goal for the day. On the short side after the bearish cross, or on the long side after the bullish cross. Now we're just consolidating sideways right above this zone. So what I do right now? Nothing. Wait. Let price get above target, and then you can trade it right up to this resistance here. If price were to drop and get below the BBC and below the bullish cross, then you could trade it down to this support and potentially the weekly trading zone. To become a lifetime member with no recurring fees, no upsells, no nonsense, ever, go to eminifuturestrading.com. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern is our members only workshop. In order to get in, you got to be a member. Here's where you go. If you've been on the trial, you should have gotten an email, or you'll get an email today reminding you that your trial is up, and that if you want to be in the members only workshop Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, well, you got to be a member. If you have any questions, call us at 949-42-EMINI. Email us support@cfrn.net. Passport is your all-access pass. Everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future, without any recurring fees, any upsells, no nonsense, ever. 2 hours and 15 minutes in the live training room every day. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have anyone to teach them how to do the job. So we spend 2 hours and 15 minutes every day teaching you how to do the job. Members also have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own for life as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you also receive the Logic 247 alerts, the Concierge Trade alerts, and you'll be in the members workshop tomorrow night. And if you're busy and can't make it live to the workshop, you'll have access to the private Telegram channel where we post the videos of each and every weekly workshop. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof at one low price. eminifuturestrading.com. Okay, let's close it up with our word for the day. Now, the last 4 days we've been talking about the cure for anxiety. Today, are you praying for your children. Now, how many of you, and you don't have to type anything in or raise your hand, how many of you might not be where you are today had it not been for a praying grandmother or a praying mother who had your back through all your foolishness? And you know, I worry about the next generation. Will they have those praying grandmothers who sometimes spend hours on their knees every day in prayer? I think about that often. My grandmother's gone, but I know that it was her prayers and my mother's prayers put a shield of protection around me through my decades of sowing my wild seeds, where I always seem to have a crop failure. So pray for the next generation. Pray that there are grandmothers standing in the gap, praying for their children, grandchildren. I think I'm more concerned about that than what's happening in the Middle East. So, 2 Kings 20:19. Will there not be peace and truth, at least in my days? The Bible says, Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, Hear the word of the Lord. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house and what your fathers have accumulated shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the Lord. And they shall take away some of your sons who will descend from you, whom you will beget, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Now, you're a smart bunch. I'm sure you know what a eunuch is. Okay? These are men that were castrated so that, they wouldn't get too much testosterone flowing and rise up against the king. Are we not doing the same thing today? Mutilating our children in some states without even the parents' knowledge? This was written thousands of years ago. Have we come full circle? Perhaps we have. So Hezekiah said to Isaiah, The word of the Lord which you have spoken is good. For he said, Will there not be peace and truth, at least in my days? Hezekiah heard that the things he had inherited from his forefathers would be lost, and his children would live in slavery to their enemies. But instead of being concerned and praying for God to intervene on their behalf, he said, Will there not be peace and truth, at least in my days? Why did he say that? Was he callous and indifferent? Was he being selfish, thinking only of himself and not about the welfare of his children? Was he being fatalistic, thinking, Prophet has declared it, and there is nothing I can do to change it? Earlier in this chapter, when the prophet Isaiah told him, Set your house in order, for you shall die and not live, he cried out to God to spare his life and was given an additional 15 years of life. 2 Kings chapter 20. It seems he was more concerned about his own future than his children's future. How about you? Are you praying for your children? And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.